There we go. All righty.
Let's see what this is. Okay, what I'm trying to do here
Okay.
is I'm trying to create I'm trying to create what I'm calling a vicinity map. I have a location
Yeah.
map,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
and I'm trying to create a vicinity map that gives a bigger picture so you can tell
Yep.
more generally where the property is. And
Yeah.
I use Google, not Google, I use Google Maps to do
Okay.
that. And I imported it as an XREF in my file.
All right. So you
Uh,
basically need that little
and
uh
and I even created a point so that I could inverse to it so that I could find it in my file, but I still can't find it. There's the
okay.
point that I created.
Well, well, first of all right, so you got that point now. Do you have that map in the is it in this
What's in the model?
that's what I mean. That's in the model? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I see. All right, so 237. So there you are. You're there at point 237. So, but now if you look at that, let me request remote control here. Okay, so if you look at this thing that you downloaded here, this image, see that's in there at a scale of 1. All right. Um,
What
yeah,
should it be at a
well, I
scale
mean,
of?
we don't know if we know like what is this right
That's
here?
the point that I created, I think.
That location inset layer. And if I look at that, yeah, that's 0.237. So you see that's kind of teeny as far as ground distance goes.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, let me take that out of my file and bring it back in and you show me how to do it properly.
Well, I mean, okay, I mean you can. There's no real way unless you know a specific distance that you can say this is equal to that. Because when
Yeah.
you get this from Google, it's just a picture.
Okay.
It's not geared to coordinates like those aerials are.
Right.
We got from the GIS system.
Yeah.
So like if you knew like the distance between this road here, what is that?
Night and Farm Lane.
Knight and Farm Lane and over here at this main one over here, if you knew that intersection distance,
Yeah.
then we could scale this in relation to that other and it'll blow it up and make it, the right size on the ground. Okay. The other thing is, what, like when this does get blown up, you see what it's going to do? It's going to get
Yeah.
real grainy looking in your map. So probably what we want to do is let's set the scale and then we'll just draw over top of this and use a little vector map to show in our cover sheet. And
Yeah.
that'll be simple enough to do it.
And that red dot is my site.
Yeah, okay, good. So so let's see, do we know if you can go back to that Google Earth area and we're going to measure from that Knighton Lane or whatever it was called down to the other intersection and get a distance. So yeah, so there's no real way to tell you how to do this differently when you bring it in. The way you brought it in is fine, but you now need to tell it what size to be. All right, so yeah, zoom in there to get that all looked up. And now let's go to, you should have a way to measure. This doesn't look like Google Maps. Yeah, Google, I don't, Oh,
Well,
this is,
I can
this
use
is,
a different,
I-
oh, wait a minute, what's this?
yeah, well, that's your street view and stuff. That's Google Maps. I was thinking it was Google Earth.
Well,
Okay,
I can go to Google Earth,
all right, that'd
or
probably
I can
be
go, or I can go to the tax map. The tax map will let me measure it.
either way, any one of those. The tax map, though, I'm just wondering if they're going to be all that accurate. They may or may not be. And it really won't matter that much. These will probably be accurate enough with the roads. The parcels themselves may not be necessarily, but the roads would be. All right, so there's Knighton Farm Road I see, and then the big intersection down below there. So let's just measure between those two intersections. There you go, just click to click. And it's 4680 feet, roughly
Yeah,
4678
right.
4680. All right,
Yeah.
let's go back to the CAD drawing. Press escape to get out of your measurement. Just you're still measuring, that's all. All right, so 4680. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to measure, or we're going to scale this by reference. Okay, so we're going to select it and we're going to choose scale.
Type in scale.
You can, or you can choose it from the icons on that vertical strip on the right-hand side. And it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down from the top, right there. So we hit scale, and now it wants us to choose a base point. So you're going to pick one of the intersections, say that one. And now it wants to know either a factor or some kind of thing to tell. So we're going to tell it this by reference. So we're going to say R for reference. Now it wants to know a base scale and then a finishing scale. So our base scale is going to be the scale that it is right now in the drawing. So we're going to just as carefully as we can, just look at there and click from that intersection up to the Knighton Road. So we're going to say click from there up to there. We're going to click once. And now the new length is going to be that 4680. There you go. Hit enter. And now zoom way out because you're zoomed in real tight. There you go. Okay. So that now is at true ground scale. Now, if we go back to your cover sheet, there it is. And you can now set that to a specific scale, or you can zoom it down to wherever it's to where you can see it the way you want to see it. And you're getting close. Right, yeah, right in there. Now I just position it up a little. Like right in there. And there we go. And
Then
so
let's
that's,
make this smaller.
you could, or we could, let's click outside the viewport for right now. Double click outside and now select the viewport and let's see what scale it's at. And I want to talk to you about what we're going to show on the mapping. So that is at the standard scale there says custom, and then the custom scale says 0.000. So it doesn't even really show up. So let's press escape and let's type the word units. Yes, there you go. Hit that. And now where it says display precision, run that up as far as it'll go up big wise. I think it probably stops at 9 or something. Keep going if it will.
That's as far
That
as
it.
we go.
All right, say okay. Now select the viewport again and let's see what that scale is. All right, so there it is. So 0.0004 uh so 0.00040686 is that scale. So that is equal to 1 inch equals, that is a 1 inch equals what number of feet? So if we take,
2463.
is that right? So I get like 2458, yeah, 2500. So that's 1 inch is equal to 2500 inches. Or so 12 divide, so 200, is that 1 inch equals 200 feet, would you say?
No, no way.
Yeah,
That's almost a mile
okay, so
between the two roads.
yeah, so that's gonna be 1 inch equals not 200 feet, but
So it's going to be 1 inch to 2,400 square feet, roughly.
to
I mean, 1 inch to
2400 feet.
2,500 feet.
Yeah, 25. So 12 times. So yeah, so 1 inch equals 2500 feet. So yeah, see, that's not a whole lot different from your location map. Your location map's at 2000.
Yeah, maybe I should just give it up.
Um, well, or you can make that location map above at 2000 feet. We make it big enough to where we can get the other intersection and then name those two roads.
I'd have to recopy it because it doesn't go, it's not that big.
Okay. Um, and that would be the same thing here on this image. We would either need to go out and re-grab that image, but because it's so blurry, because it's blown up so big, I would say we would just draw over top of it as line work.
Yeah, I'm inclined just to forget the whole thing. No, this was just a wild hair that I had.
Yeah.
Nobody asked me to do this.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, so because it's no, it's close to being the same scale, and you can sort of see. I mean, I see that, you're about maybe 2/3 of the total span up in the upper one, but I can definitely see that Knighton Farm Road, and then I see your site, and then I see that other parcel boundaries, coming down that, I just don't go far enough out to the right or to the east. And we could do that, but we'd have to, like you say, we'd have to go out and grab another image. Um, so it's, one of the other thing, because you've got that, what does that say? Something, uh, yeah, Gardner's Lane. If you took this word here and put it over here and called it Knighton Farm Road and lined it up with this road, and then whatever this road is,
yeah,
that might be sufficient. Uh, let me also say, I'm going to pull this down. How far? Because we're right, that's right where the right edge ends. How much does it go up to the top if we unlock? How much do we have this way? Do we have enough to get anything? That's the top of the image there, so we don't really have. So that's really about all we've got right there. That's as good as we could get, and that wasn't much to get. So if we undo a couple things there, then we'll be back to where we were. So you could do this. You could take this word, we can copy from there down to, say, here, and then rotate it. And then we'll just move it off of there just a wee bit more. Edit, and it's called uh, something like I don't know if I got the name right, but uh, that certainly identifies that, and they see the bend in the road. So maybe that's sufficient. It's up to you. If
Okay,
you
yeah,
like,
I think that's good.
yeah, if you'd like to go out and make it bigger, I mean, I can show you how to do that and set your and go back and help you grab another image if you'd like to do it. It's just there's not enough extra here to do it. The two scales are too similar. You're not really showing them a whole lot of extra information. You might, if one was showing you where you were in, where your particular county is in the panhandle, maybe that's, one way it is, and then you zoom in tight to get the
Yeah,
other.
I think I'll delete all this.
Well, okay. And then the other bit might be, but I like the way you're thinking though about sticking out there and making that work. It's a nice way to help bring that more into scale. So there we go.
Okay,
All right. So anything else other than that? Was that
that was it.
okay? Well, your approach was fine, but what I want you to take away from that is once you get that in, realize that, it's just a picture, unless you get it from like a GIS place that's going to come in with what they call a world map or what they call a world file
Yeah,
that tells it the scale and the location of the lower left pixel in the image and all of that. And that's what you get with those aerials that we have for Berkeley County and all that.
right.
Um, but for that one that you've got, it's just an image. You can throw it anywhere. But what you need to do is get a ground distance that it doesn't have to be exact. You saw what we did. And then wherever you've put it in the drawing, you need to scale it and you give it one of those endpoints that you know as the base point, and then you do it by reference, and then you pick the 2 points in the image, you click to click, and you say, all right, here's my reference distance, and then it wants to know the true distance, and that's when you type in the value that you measured. Or you could also snap it if you have 2 points already established. Um, for instance, if you've got, let me just see real quick. If we just, do a little something like this, and we had in it little, some roads or whatever there. And so let's say we went out on the ground and we measured that distance and we know what it was, and we actually put a point, maybe, let's take this for a minute. I'm just going to copy this. So let's say that we had that actually, wherever it is on the ground, and it was, let's give it some, that's what it actually looks like on the ground, but ours is way out of whack. So the way we would resolve this is we would take this, whether it's an image or just drawn geometry like I've done here. And the first thing you do is you're going to move. So I'm going to say right click move or choose the move tool over here. From this point, that's my common point. So that lower left point of that, and I'm going to put it over here on this endpoint. Okay. And you would do this rotation wise too. If we needed to rotate it, you would also do, well, in fact, let's just do that. Let's say we had it over here and this on the ground was actually something more like this, okay? So it looks sort of like that, and we've got sort of something, from a picture that we've got in here. It's not exactly rotated right, it's not scaled right. So the first thing you do is you're going to take the stuff that you're trying to resize and reposition, and you're going to move it. So we're going to move, and you go from one point to the other point. Okay. And now what I would do first before scaling it, which you can scale it first, but I'm going to rotate this thing to match the rotation of the other. And so what you do there is you're going to select the stuff you're trying to change again, and we're going to choose rotate, which is just a standard rotate. And we're going to go reading the prompt that says rotation point. That's our base point. So I'm going to hold this point as my axis. So now if I just show it an angle or type an angle, I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to use the choices at the command line to base angle. So I'm going to show it a base angle, or that's my reference. Okay, so B for base angle. And he says, okay, what is the base angle? Again, you could type it or you can click it. So if I click it, I'm going to say, I'm going to go from this point up to this point. So whatever that angle is, I want it to be, notice I'm still hinged down there.
Yeah.
So the new angle is going to be from that point up to wherever it is actually on the ground. Click, okay? So now we're rotated, lined up with it. So you see it turned it. And then the final step is we're going to scale it. So we're going to right click it and we're going to choose our scale command, again, by this base point, and then by reference. So the reference I had was here to here. And now what's its new distance? Well, it goes from there to there. Okay, and you see how that's coming into,
Yeah.
okay. So that's the way you could do that by showing, or if you just measured that number, you could just type the number. See how it's waiting for that 4680?
Yeah.
That's what I gave the last time.
Right.
So you can show it or type it. Now, one other similar way to do that that might be easier for you. Let's say you've got this same situation, okay? And you have an image or whatever. There's a command over here that really combines all that stuff together, and that's these align commands. And it would be a 2D most of the time for you because you're not really worried about the elevations of this stuff. So if you run that command, in fact, why don't you do it? I'll talk you through it. You go up there to the edit menu and choose align 2D align. Okay. The first thing I want you to do is select the entities you want to align. So draw a window around the things you're trying to change. There you go. Hit enter to finish. And now it wants you to pick a point or a point number, but look at the line above. It says pick your first source point. So you want the point that's in the image or the stuff you're aligning. So that point there, click. And now it wants the destination. So what does that correspond to on the ground? Right there, click. Okay. Now it wants a second point. So now you're going to get the end of that little road. And again, you could just pick image points or you could have these geometry points. And now it wants to know its destination. So zoom way out and get that other endpoint up there. Okay. So click to that. Now it says it's done something already. It has moved it and rotated it, but it has not scaled it, but it gives you the option. Do you want to also scale those objects based on those alignment points? At this point, you would say yes. And hit enter. And now you see everything is there, just like, and it's all lined up. It went from point one to point one, point two to point two, even though it's not even in the same rotation, And that's how you can line a lot of stuff up. In fact, you remember the command? Do you ever use that command when you're resolving deed points to points you find in the field?
Yes.
That's exactly what it's doing in the background. That same type of stuff. Say, take this point, go to that point, go this point to that point, rotate it and scale it if you want. But see, sometimes you don't want to scale something because maybe what you're moving and trying to get into position is measured very accurately distance wise. It's just the rotation's off. So you're just really trying to line it up with something else, but not change the scale. And that's why it gives you that option.
Okay.
So those methods work, but the CAD way, that was that first stuff where I took the stuff, I moved it, I then rotated it, and then I scaled it. All right, so three different operations. And you know, I sometimes do that anyway because that's the way we used to always have to do it. We didn't have this nicer tool, I think, uh, with that align command. So
Right.
okay.
Okay. Very
So,
good.
yeah,
Thank you,
good
sir.
trying that. Don't forget to erase those things that I drew that you put there, and if you don't, unless you want them. So, all right,
Okay.
all righty. So I'll put the little video clip up and save it. It might be something just to jog your memory later.
Okay. Very good.
All right, take care now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.